Its blueprint for conquest now clearly includes an assault on American institutions from within, mob violence, guerrilla warfare, massive disruptive strife. Then, finally, undoubtedly, a climactic military move, simultaneously from within and without, to crush and take over a disrupted and weakened nation.
Okay, so there you go. This is one of the other parts of the plan. See, the CV-19 stuff, man, is just part of the initiation. See, they had to declare a national emergency so they can enact all these different policies in different agencies, and then it gives the corporation, the government, gives itself permission to do stuff like suspend the Constitution, stuff like that. All right, and then you see all these governors and stuff acting like freaking kings and shit, and ordering people to do things like wear masks, stay 6 foot away, blah blah blah. All right, now one of the last things that he said is an ultimate military action. See, the thing is, I already know that their plans, when it comes down to, like, for instance, this autonomous zone out there in Seattle, their plans, when it comes down to that and any other autonomous zones pop up in other cities, which that's what they want to do, is they want to spread this all over the country. If the police don't do anything, or ordered not to do anything, and then they don't do anything, and then the National Guard, if they can't handle what is going on in there or whatever, the next step will be UN. The UN will step in, and Obama already gave them this authority to do so. They will step in and as a security agency for a peacekeeping type act. They will be helping the National Guard and the police to peacekeeping. I guess they would probably label it. And then we're all kind of screwed in certain ways, man, unless we all start shooting back. I mean, honestly, man, because I don't know.
The entire communist communications network gives clear evidence of unified planning toward such a climax. Here is the National Guardian, issue of March 16, 1968. The National Guardian is listed by congressional committees as a Communist Front publication which has manifested itself from the beginning as a virtual official propaganda arm of Soviet Russia. This issue of The Guardian reports to its leftist subscribers throughout the nation that radical organizations of Mexican Americans are beginning to join forces with revolutionary black power. The same issue reports that militant Puerto Rican groups are joining with revolutionary black power elements. The so-called poor white are being constantly agitated. Communists are active in efforts to organize them into a force that would ultimately join in the revolution to overthrow the United States. Revolutionary black power accepts its role as the vanguard of the revolution.
That's like the BLM. It's the same thing. Black Power, the Black Lives Matter. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's repeating itself, people. It's repeating itself because they're orchestrating it.
This issue of The Guardian shows the way toward control of the federal government.
Ultimately, black power here means that the black people will decide under what conditions the federal government can function. And before black power ever gets to that stage, violent outbreaks could seriously threaten the day-to-day operations of the government. A rebellion in Washington could be the equivalent of the recent guerrilla attack on the U.S. Embassy complex in Saigon.
The Communist Worker, now expanded into a widely distributed daily linked to international headquarters in Moscow, carried the Black Power revolutionary line as set forth officially by James Foreman, SNCC official and lieutenant to Stokely Carmichael. In this speech to 5,000 Negro college students in California and published in the Communist Worker, Foreman said of the revolution,
"The dispossessed unite with the dispossessed. The dispossessed in the United States are the people of African descent, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexican Americans, and many poor white. We are the vanguard of that group. Whether we will live up to our historical role and lead forward that revolution remains to be seen. We must be prepared to fight and die, and we must believe that we will win. Only from the masses of the black people will there come revolutionary leadership."
The Communist Worker endorsed the Foreman call for revolution. The Red newspaper viewed it as a fighting call for liberation, a war of liberation. Following the summer of terror which he had helped to create, Stokely Carmichael went to Havana, Cuba, to discuss revolutionary tactics and guerrilla warfare with communist officialdom from throughout 3 hemispheres. In a speech to the Red comrades, he made it clear that not reform, but the destruction of America is the goal.
"Comrades of the Third World, of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, I want you to know that the Afro-Americans in the United States are fighting for their liberation, and that this struggle is not a reformist movement which aspires to become a part of the United States. It is a struggle of total revolution in which we intend to change the imperialist, capitalist, and racist structures of the United States. We have no other alternative but to take arms and fight for our total liberation and for a total revolution in the United States."
Mr. Carmichael welded revolutionary black power to world communism with this statement.
"Our struggle will be one and the same with world communism. Our struggle should be coordinated. It is high time that we join our forces. We are ready to begin today to destroy from within the structures that have oppressed us all, and we hope that you will begin to destroy them also from the outside. Let us march forward. We shall win."
See, Antifa and Black Lives Matter both openly have declared themselves a socialist communist type movement. I mean, the organization of Antifa, and which Antifa, in my mind, they are against anti-fascists, because that's what they do. They fight against people that are anti-fascist. You know what I mean? Because honestly, man, they're not anti-fascists. They fight against anti-fascists. So they are the fascists. And then you have the other communist section of it is the Black Lives Matter movement. That group, the organization, that's a communist organization. Now, black people matter. Hell, I matter. I'm a white man. White people matter. Asian people matter. Brown people matter. Everybody matters. We all matter. Okay? So it doesn't fucking matter about this shit. It's just another way to divide all of us. Get us all divided. It's a divide and conquer scenario. It's subversion. It's to get you all confused on what the reality is. It's to get you all demoralized, where you think that you have no other choice but to submit and comply with this communist agenda. Wake up, people. It's time to wake up.
Carmichael's particular hero is the late Che Guevara, communist master of guerrilla warfare. Guevara's textbook of tactics on revolutionary overthrow by guerrilla forces has become a primary textbook of revolutionary black power in America. In this official communist newspaper, Granma, published in communist Cuba, Carmichael eulogizes Guevara and pledges as a comrade to carry on the world revolution.
With the death of Ernesto Che Guevara, it is our revolutionary duty to create Vietnams inside the United States. Che explained clearly that there is no need to talk more. that the contradictions in the world are clear, and that the time has come for each to take his place in the fight. This is exactly what Malcolm X said. The time for words has passed. Now is the time to fight. Che Guevara died the way we all should die, fighting imperialism, weapons in hand. His example, like that of Patrice Lumumba, spurs us on in the fight and gives us strength to continue this struggle, which we shall win. They died fighting, and we, from now on, will also die fighting.
At a press conference before leaving Havana, Carmichael said,
"We are moving toward urban guerrilla warfare within the United States."
Repeatedly, Carmichael called for a communist victory in Vietnam, and otherwise allied himself and his Black Power forces with world communism's goals. And in Paris, just before returning to America, Carmichael said,
"Our movement is to move to disrupt the structure of the United States, and our blood will pay for that, and we think it is not too high a price to pay."
Such revolutionary fervor today is widespread among Carmichael's widening force of followers. Rap Brown is a past master of incitation.
You better define who your enemy is, and you better move to destroy your enemy. Because if America don't come round, America should be burnt down.
I mean, seriously, this doesn't sound any at all familiar. I mean, what's going on today? I mean, does anybody see the freaking parallels? Am I the only one? Am I the only one that has been seeing this shit for years and can see the dominoes stacking, and all it needs is that little nudge to knock that first domino and then they all fall down? Am I the only one seeing this shit? I hope I'm not the only one. And I hope that we are not going to allow this to happen. Because I sure as hell don't want this to be the legacy that after I die, I leave for my future generations. Because, you know, I'm just one person, right? Is this what y'all want for your children? Is this what y'all want? It's the 1122 Wingnut Radio. I'm back.